Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. This channel is about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. Many people have. Some people have given up on love. But I found my love beyond the sea in the Philippines back in 2015, and I've had this channel for 5.5 years trying to help encourage others to not give up, maybe do the same, but learn about Filipinas, the culture, and marriage, and all of that. Now, somebody made this comment on TikTok, and please subscribe here, by the way, and leave comments. And they're talking about Filipinas. The video was something like, what is wrong with marrying a Filipina? And they said, why do they go with anybody? So, as always, at the risk of upsetting some people, I just like to be direct and answer these kind of questions the best that I can, because I've also noted in some of my 1,600 plus videos that I think Filipinas are not picky enough. I do think they decide too quickly sometimes who to marry, and of course they have to, have a dating relationship with them first before they get married. And I do feel like they need to take some time to think about the person they marry. For example, a younger, pretty woman, let's say, 20 to 25 years of age, and she's got this guy that's like 65, and he's not all that healthy, it doesn't appear to be. Maybe his financial situation is not that good, and why do they do that? I don't think they should. I mean, you can never tell anybody who they should marry, what they should do, but there are always consequences, right? If you don't keep some things in mind, if you want to stay together. So why do they do it? Just anybody? I sure assume he's talking about somebody that has been rejected, so to speak, overlooked, bypassed in their country. And, well, because this guy, for example, may not have much financially, but what he has, at least in the short term, to her, improves her standard of living perhaps more than anybody she knows. Depends on where she's from. If she's a woman from a provincial area, I mean, she may really be struggling just to have electricity, cable, connection to the world like, we've just kind of grown up with here in the West. And that looks good to her. And she's not thinking about the next 30, 40 years. Now, maybe she's thinking, well, this guy doesn't look like he has long to live, so maybe in 10 years he'll die. And she maybe assumes that he has something that he can leave her. I mean, I don't think it's wrong for her to ask if he has a will. My wife has seen my will. We've been to the lawyer probably several years ago, and we put together a will. We later adjusted it one time, and we still have it in case we need to do something with it. But she knows if I die, what she gets. That's also incentive for her not to leave me. Not that I think she would, but she knows that taking care of her for the rest of her life is a big deal to me. So she knows the numbers, and she should ask him. But I think a lot of times they marry for how can my life change the fastest? Instead of, well, if I'm desirable to this guy, maybe there's another guy that comes around that can provide for me a better life. And she should. What's wrong with the free market system of looking for what's best for you? She should do it too. It doesn't just go for, the man looking for the best woman, but, the women should do that too, especially when they are the ones that people are looking for. They're flying halfway across the world to meet them. She may not see herself in that light of being such a draw, such an attraction, because over there's so many pretty women, they all think they're average, no matter how good looking they are or how nice of a body they have. They could think that, well, I'm going to go with this guy, this, Mr. Anybody, because he's a foreigner. Mr. Anybody has white skin and a long nose, and for some reason, that's supposed to be attractive. I don't know why that would be attractive in any way other than the possibility of providing a better life for her. That's not inconsequential or insignificant. That does matter, but sometimes Mr. Anybody gets the Filipina because nobody else is asking her to marry him. Maybe Mr. Anybody gets the Filipina because her options are very limited. A lot of Filipino men are interested in women who are under 30. So maybe that 27, 28, 29 Filipina is kind of feeling like she's getting too old and about to be unwanted. Maybe she's 32 to 35. She is unwanted in a sense, as far as the perception of the Filipino men. That's just what I've heard. You can leave a comment and add to that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Mr. Anybody from the West might have a chance at a woman that Filipinos have rejected. There's a lot of infidelity there, so maybe Mr. Anybody can get a Filipina, no matter how he looks or the condition he is, or maybe how poor he is, because she feels like she doesn't have any options, and surely this older Westerner is going to be more mature than the younger Filipino men she knows in her life. And that may or may not be true. I think it all boils down to Mr. Anybody can get a chance because their options aren't that great. I mean, if somehow you could transplant them into the United States and not be westernized, not be Americanized, they would really stand out. They would be outstanding targets. But for the most part, you got to go to the Philippines to meet one. And not just anybody will get up and go to the Philippines. But if Mr. Anybody does make the effort to go thousands of miles and buy plane tickets and rent hotels and go show her some things, maybe give her a little bit of a glimpse of what life could be with him, Mr. Anybody has a chance. Whereas he might not where he is. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things. I'm maybe being I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to be honest and answer this question. Now, that does not mean that Mr. Anybody, who maybe has no business looking for a wife because he's got maybe he's got some emotional problems. Maybe he can't provide her anything, and he shouldn't go to the Philippines because the Filipina might marry Mr. Anybody, and it might be very bad for her future. I think her family should try to vet out Mr. Anybody. Now, am I Mr. Anybody? I mean, I was Mr. Nobody here in the United States until I met my wife in 2015. Dating site, Christian Filipina. Met her on day 5, I think it was, 4 or 5. We started chatting. 17 days after that, I asked her to marry me. She said she would if I go to meet her. I went. Everything went well. We got married on day 54. But I was also somebody that wanted to be married and be in it for the long haul. Mr. Anybody just might be looking for, a quick fling or something like that. And if Mr. Anybody is only looking to have sex with these women and not commit to marriage, then Mr. Anybody should be jettisoned by that Filipina and look for somebody that is serious about marriage, can take care of her, wants to commit to her, even though he might be Mr. Anybody where he is. But if he has something, some kind of game and some kind of way to provide for that woman from the Philippines, then by all means, try to find love beyond the sea.